been a while since I've recorded a video because I've been in my own personal hell. But I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about 2 red flags that I thought about that I have not heard anywhere else. One of them in particular is just a killer. It's amazing. I can't believe I didn't see it. But I've been watching a lot of videos, confessions, serial killers, people who killed their families, all that. And I noticed something. And then I just said, oh my God, it's also the narcissists and the psychopaths in my life who did the exact same thing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But I'm going to leave that for a second. The first one is not nearly as beautiful, and I'm not really sure if it's valid, but it seems to apply to the people I know. And I can actually show you this one because it's right here. You see the way that my front teeth have a space in the front? Not my bottom ones. It's because of the stress. I've seen it develop over the past couple of years. I didn't have it. But because I stress and I bite down, what happens is the front teeth get pushed out. So we develop a bit of a space because I had braces and my teeth were all basically like this, you know, really close. Until recently, I noticed that. I know where it's from because I lost this tooth by doing the same thing. I was on the phone with my mother, screaming, and I was going, and it popped. So I thought to myself, I said, let me think about the people I know who have a space between their teeth. And as I did, I realized, yeah, it pretty much does point to the more stressed out, neurotic characters. Absolutely, it's a physical sign for the people I know. The more high-strung they are, at least, doesn't mean they have a personality disorder, but the more high-strung they are, or the more stressed out, the more likely in my life they are to have that little space. That's not the big one. The big one is much more apparent. It's much more apparent. Here it is. You ready? It goes a little like this. It goes a little bit like something like that. Something like that. When you hear that, man, that should be a red flag. Interview after interview with murderers and killers and guilty parties of all kinds. They'll say something like, "Oh yeah, I was at the beach house. We were eating and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I was playing video games, something like that." Something like that. People don't say something like that unless they're hiding something. And I was thinking about, well, I've seen this in so many videos. How does this work in my life? And I thought, oh my God, how does this work in my life? My ex-girlfriend, the psychopath, I remember so many times, but one I can tell you right off the bat. I asked her, she wanted to get together on Saturday, and she said, I'll see about that. And then I asked her, why? Are you going to be this or that? Like, how come you can't tell me now? And her answer was, something like that. My father, my mother, if I would press them on something, at some point, it would usually come down to, yeah, something like that. My father also had, I'll tell you later, but it would be also next to something like that. Oh yeah, something like that. Oh my God. And then I think about the people who are my friends, my brother, people who I trust to this day. They never said something like that. I never say something like that. Why would I say something like that? If it's something like that, I'm going to tell you what the something is, and I'm going to tell you what the that is. Something like that. That's a red flag that someone is hiding or lying to you, and it just may not be as obvious as when I state it now when you hear it. Anyways, I guess I'll be getting off, and I'll be recording a video or something like that. I mean, doesn't that mean I'm probably not going to be recording a video? Okay, I've kept it under 5 minutes, so in that case, I'll tell you guys I've had a pretty rough summer, and I can blame it primarily on the heat and the noise, because there was another building that was erected across the street over the summer. So I hibernated in the summer. I did the reverse bear. We'll call it the Canadian polar bear. I basically slept all day, and I just was awake between like 4 or 5 at night until 2 or 3 in the morning. I didn't get much done, but I've been really depressed because I had some dreams that were just the worst, and I'll just tell you about the worst one right now. My brother, when he first showed up at my dreams at the beginning, when he first died, well, my subconscious was not aware that he died, so I would dream and he'd be in there. Everything would be normal. I wouldn't have many reactions. I'd interact with him in my dream, and then I'd wake up and really depressed. Start crying. At that time, I realized he wasn't even alive anymore. As the dreams progressed, I'd see my brother in there, and I would know he was not alive in real life. But just seeing him there, it didn't matter. So I would like celebrate for the moment. I'd be like, "Oh man, here you are, buddy. Like, wow, I can't believe I have moments with you. Like, this is great." But then he'd be gone. As time went on, the dreams evolved to something pretty intense. I'd see my brother in my dreams, and again, just like I just told you, I would know that he wasn't really alive in real life. But at this point, I was no longer interested in just celebrating that he was there in front of me. At this point, I was intent on bringing him back into this dimension. So I would look at him in the eye and say, "Dude, never mind the celebrations, never mind like being happy that we're here together. Let's try to overcome this reality barrier. Maybe if we focus really hard, I can bring you back." And I'd be like, "Come on, man, let's try to bring you back into like this world." Well, needless to say, it never worked. And from concentrating like that, I'd usually wake up in a sweat and very, very feeling hopeless, obviously. But what happened over the summer just set me over the edge, and it made me realize that although our minds dream every night, I don't think our minds solve things every night. In other words, there's this impression that every night we dream and every night we solve some problems in our life, and that's why we dream. And I think that's why we dream, but I don't think we solve problems every night. I think it just might be every once in a while, just like when we're alive. Every few weeks, every few months, every few days, we'll come to a major solution, depending how many problems we have. So anyways, I dreamed about my brother this summer. Man, it was just terrible, guys. It was the opposite. He showed up at the door of my apartment. I opened the door and there he was, and he was like, "Hey man, here I am." And I said, "No man, no you're not. No you're not, man." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Dude, don't do this to me, man. I know you're not alive. We've been through this a million times. Like, you can't keep dragging me back down into this. Like, I mean, it's not happening, man. Like, you're not alive, man." And telling that to my brother was like, I can't believe it. It was like, I don't think I should have done that. I wish I hadn't, because he looked at me with the saddest eyes I've ever seen, and he was at a loss for words. My brother was never at a loss for words. And he looked dejected. He just slumped his shoulders and said, "Okay, fine, I'll go away then." That was it. He closed the door. And I don't think I'll ever see him again.